Aloha! Welcome back to the Anxiety Coaches Podcast. I'm your host and coach, Gina Ryan, and I'm so happy to be with you again today as we consider the many ways to bring your mind and body back to its natural peace and calm. In today's episode, we're talking about fear as false evidence appearing real. It can be a good way to remember things by using an acronym, and I thought we would go over the very popular, and you've probably heard it many times, acronym FEAR, false evidence appearing real. And maybe we could look at this and see how this could actually be a part of how we are viewing fear and how we are letting fear and watching false evidence as appearing real keep us in that loop, that cycle of fear, adrenaline, fear. The mind thinking one thing, the body responding, and then the mind feeling validated by how the body's feeling and saying, okay, I guess there really is a problem. I better keep going in this direction, pumping out more adrenaline, cortisol, things to keep this little body safe. Let it run, let it go get protection. And so that's coming from our mind, and that's the cycle that we're in. Fear, adrenaline, fear. Our mind, our body, our mind. It just keeps going round and round, and one does feed the other. We need to remember this, that we are complete and whole. We can't have just the mind doing things and just the body doing things. They influence each other, and they do all the time. When we're safe and we're playing out future scenarios in our heads, and we can say there's no true threat, no immediate physical danger, no threat of loss of someone or something dear to us. Actually, nothing there at all. When we can say that, we can say that fear, false evidence appearing real, is an illusion. This is happening in our minds. We are letting those things that tend to just float through our mind, thoughts, being that we are thought-making machines, we are letting those thoughts influence us as if they were truth. And we want to keep that in mind too when we're thinking about this false evidence appearing as real. What that is it's false evidence. It's mind-made evidence. It's not real. It's appearing real, but it's an illusion. So we want to pay attention to the idea that every thought that wanders across our mind and our attention lands on is not a truth. It is not a fact. It is not particularly real. So we can safely say being in fear of feeling fear is an illusion. And this is so much a part of what anxiety is, that fear of feeling the fear again. We just don't want to feel it, so we build up all of these possible fearful scenarios in our head, things we have to avoid, things we have to get away from, outward influences that can save us. We get all these thoughts that are going to, in our mind, make us safe so that we are not feeling the fear. We want to be safe from feeling fear. So what is that? That's a fear. That's a fear of feeling the fear. And it is an illusion. If the fear comes up, the fear comes up. But we don't need to be afraid of it. And so therefore we don't need to be afraid of it coming up in the future. In his first inaugural address, Franklin Delano Roosevelt said, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. We all know that by heart. We have heard it a million times. But I want you right now to take a moment and think about that as how it is playing out in your own life. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. That is the whole thing of anxiety that we are running from. We are running from the fear of feeling fear again. And if you are just finding this for the first time, this idea that you are afraid of the fear, let that land on you. Let that be kind of a light bulb moment if you're getting it. I remember that when I got that, I said, well, I remember feeling that so deeply that I realized I didn't have to do that. That was something I was willingly going into, and I didn't have to do it anymore. I did not have to be afraid of fear. I didn't have to be afraid of feeling the fear. An excellent place to begin is to face the fear. This fear that you are fearing, I want you to face it. Not try to run away from it, not try to make it go away, not try to find the silver bullet that will eliminate it forever, not sweep it under the carpet, pretend it's not there. Want you to really face it. Look and see how you are running away from it, perhaps, and finding ways to feel the fear and accept the fact that fear happens. Look and see how you're running away from it, or how you are trying to find ways to make it disappear, make it not there, or just make yourself not have to think about it for a minute. No, instead, turn right toward it. It can't do anything to you, but as long as we are running away from it and we are giving it power by thinking that it has to go away or we cannot go on with our lives, as long as we are giving it that kind of power, it will stalk us. We need to face it. Just turn around and look at it. The next thing we want to do is to befriend the fear. And I know many of you have heard me say, if you fear that you will experience anxiety, for an example, while you're driving, I want you to tell the fear to come along and sit in the back seat with you. Come on, get in the car, come in with us. It can come along, but you won't be engaging in conversation with it. Let it be there. The idea that it is going to go away if you are afraid of it is just totally wrong. It's going to come with you one way or the other, so you may as well befriend it. Face it, befriend it, let it go in the car with you. Just don't give it a whole bunch of conversation. Remember, fear is not the enemy. Fear is trying to protect us, to keep you safe, to keep me safe and out of harm's way. Many things we do in clearing anxiety, panic seem counterintuitive. And this is no different, but this friendly relationship with fear is a critical practice in moving forward. I want you to get warm and cozy with it. And now getting back to fear as false evidence appearing real, I wanted to say that often we find people try 3 different ways to get rid of their panic and fear, the fear of the fear, to do it quickly. Because, of course, it's so uncomfortable. Who wouldn't want to get rid of it? I'm totally with you on that. I get it. I've been there. I know that all you want to do is make that weird feeling that is anxiety, panic, stop. And so the 3 ways that people really work on this is the 3 ways that it is actually protecting us: fight, flight, or freeze. Many people try medications or distractions, and this could be like fighting it. Like, okay, you're there, but I'm going to do something to make it go away. That is fighting with it. It digs it a little bit deeper. Another way is to leave situations where fear arises or avoid these places altogether. And this would be considered fleeing. And again, this digs the anxiety in even deeper. Finally, some people hunker down and wait, hoping and praying that the anxiety or panic will not happen again if they stay put, if they don't leave, whether it's their car or their home or their bedroom. It can get that severe, and this would be a freeze response. And again, when we are frozen, it is digging in a little bit deeper because we have not resolved the problem. Each of these responses adds to the original fear of the fear arising, and it is much like fighting fire by pouring gasoline on it, hoping and praying that it will go out, and then being surprised by the fact that the fire is still burning. The way out is truly acceptance. Fear may arise, and when it does, remind yourself that the sensations that you are feeling are from a reaction. They are from your body. When that fear rises and your body goes through those sensations, this is a normal physiological reaction to the thoughts that you were having, to what you were thinking. And now your reaction can be very fast and very quick, and it can also be a habit that you are not even getting any kind of a pause between what you're thinking and what you're feeling. And the overstimulated amygdala can be a part of why this is happening, meaning that over time you have had so many knee-jerk reactions that your amygdala is overstimulated, and it is just reacting to even tiny odd thoughts that are going through your mind. Now remember, so what is happening here is that the acceptance is the answer. The fear may arise, and when it does, remind yourself that the sensations are from either a reaction, they're from your physical body reacting to the way that you are thinking. It's thinking you're going to have to fight, flight, or flee, so it's giving you the resources to do that. It could be from a habit or an overstimulated amygdala. And I want you to remember that you are safe even with these odd sensations. You can learn to hang out with these feelings a little bit at a time, and each time you will realize you are safe even with these sensations or symptoms, and you will be retraining the mind and the brain. And with some time, you will not have that old knee-jerk reaction to the feelings of fear. I hope this has been helpful for you, and I want you to remember that you can do this. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Take a moment and think about how that is playing out in your own life. And now for today's quote. Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less. And that's from Marie Curie. I'll be back in a few more days with another podcast. Until then, be well and aloha.